The fluorescent lights buzzed softly above the crowded courtroom, but for Ronan Vale, a 38-year-old single father standing with tired eyes and a trembling heart, everything felt unbearably loud. The shuffle of papers, the clacking of heels, the distant coughs of restless spectators, each sound stabbed through the quiet fear humming in his blood. He wasn't supposed to be here like this, not after everything he had survived, not after everything he had sacrificed. But life had a way of dragging even the strongest souls back through the dirt. And today, as Judge Halverson smirked down from his raised seat, Ronan felt the weight of 1,000 invisible battles pressing down on him. "Mr. Vale," the judge said, leaning back as though he were watching a cheap performance unfold for his amusement, "it says here you were once enlisted. Air Force Tactical Recon, His voice dripped with playful mockery. "Tell me, what was your call sign? Maybe we should make sure you're as heroic as you're trying to look right now." The courtroom chuckled. Ronan swallowed hard, not out of fear but restraint. His call sign wasn't something he flaunted, nor something he ever planned to speak aloud in a public room designed to dissect lives, but the judge's laugh grew louder, prompting, provoking, until Ronan finally met his eyes. Calm, cold, unshaking. "Shadowhawk," he said. The laughter stopped instantly, and for the first time since stepping into that courtroom, Ronan realized that Judge Halverson had no idea what kind of man he had just mocked, no idea that the call sign uttered in a quiet voice would become the hammer that shattered his whole career. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us of humanity, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps these true inspired stories reach the hearts that need them. Ronan hadn't always lived with the shadows that trailed him now. Years ago, he was among the sharpest tactical reconnaissance pilots in his unit, earning the name Shadowhawk for his ability to fly through danger zones unseen, returning with mission-saving intel. He wasn't fearless. Fear was simply a tool he had mastered. But everything changed when his wife, Marin, died unexpectedly from a medical complication that spiraled too fast. One moment she was laughing about their daughter's school project, and the next, he was holding her hand as the beeping heart monitor faded into a flat line that broke him clean in half. He left service 6 months later, not because he suddenly lacked purpose, but because his daughter, Kayla, needed him more than the country did. Their life became a delicate balancing act. Ronan worked double shifts as a warehouse supervisor while studying electrical systems at night so he could eventually transition to a more stable civilian role. He learned how to braid hair using YouTube videos. He learned how to pack school lunches that would survive the heat. He learned how to smile even when he felt like a ghost wearing human skin. Through every struggle, Kayla was his anchor, a bright, resilient 9-year-old with sunlit eyes and a laugh that reminded him of Marin. But trouble found them the way storms find mountains, inevitable, relentless. Kayla's school misinterpreted Ronan's frequent late pickups as neglect, leading to a report that spiraled into a custody review. Suddenly, the man who once danced through the skies was fighting just to keep the only part of life that still mattered. And standing on the other side of that courtroom was Judge Halverson, a man known for his harsh rulings, his impatience, and his fondness for belittling defendants for sport. The hearing had already been tense. Kayla's teacher made honest but misguided comments. The social worker admitted Ronan was doing his best, but looked exhausted beyond reason. Halverson, unimpressed, leaned into his typical routine of intimidation. Asking for Ronan's call sign wasn't curiosity. It was cruelty disguised as humor. But Shadowhawk wasn't a name that floated lightly. It carried classified missions, commendations, and sacrifices etched into record books that only few had clearance to access. Records Judge Halverson clearly didn't expect to matter, but they did. When Ronan's caseworker, a mild-spoken woman named Mira Telwyn, heard the call sign, her eyes widened. Without hesitation, she excused herself to step into the hall, calling her supervisor. Within minutes, a series of hurried whispers rippled across the back of the courtroom. Officials exchanged glances. Phones buzzed. A high-ranking liaison from the state's Veteran Affairs Office rushed in, breathless and pale. He approached the judge's bench discreetly, handed him a sealed folder, and whispered something that turned Halverson's face from smug amusement to rattled disbelief. Ronan stood silently as the judge opened the folder. Inside were his classified commendations, mission summaries, presidential citations, and psychological evaluations, clearing him repeatedly for high-pressure leadership. It documented his tactical heroism, professionalism under fire, and mental resilience under extreme strain. It also contained letters, signed by former commanders, attesting to Ronan's integrity, selflessness, and suitability as a guardian of children. In short, it was a portfolio that obliterated every doubt the court had raised. The room went silent. For once, Halverson had no joke to offer, but the hearing still had miles to go. As Mira took the stand, she painted a picture of Ronan's home life that had nothing to do with military valor and everything to do with the quiet heroism of a struggling parent. She spoke of his spotless living environment, his consistent involvement in Kayla's education, his documented sacrifices, and his heartfelt attempts to be both mother and father. She admitted he was tired, but not negligent, stressed, but never harmful. A single dad fighting impossibly hard in a world that rarely made space for fathers like him. Her voice cracked when she said, "Kayla feels safe with him, loved with him. She is thriving because of him. She told me once, 'My dad is my forever hero,' and I believe her." When Halverson tried to interrupt, the VA liaison cleared his throat sharply, reminding him in a calm but icy tone that discrimination against veterans, especially decorated ones, would be a direct violation of federal protections. The judge stiffened, suddenly aware that the eyes on him were no longer admiring, but assessing. The courtroom atmosphere shifted, and for the first time, Ronan could breathe. He nodded, but deep down he knew it wasn't the words. It was the truth. A truth he never tried to wield as a weapon. A truth he carried like a wound and a badge all at once. For the first time in years, hope didn't feel like an impossibility. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement helps these stories reach those who need comfort, courage, or a reminder that they're not alone. Before we end, here's a small request from the heart. Please comment strength and kindness if you believe compassion still has the power to change lives. And with that, Ronan and Kayla disappeared into the bright, warm day, their shadows long behind them, and their future finally free.